Hey guys, it's the end of September, and that means it is time for the first wing of LFR for the Emerald Nightmare to open up, and this is going to be a quick guide for the first 3 bosses of the raid. Just a reminder that this guide is for the LFR version of the Emerald Nightmare. The other versions will have their own strategies for the bosses, a little bit more advanced, so be sure to check online for those. Let's get started. So the first wing has Nethendra, Il'gynoth, and Elreth. First off, you'll spawn in there and you will have to kill Nethendra first, no matter what. Nethendra's really very basic. It follows the same thing as Hellfire Citadel. If it's green, stay out of it. The 2 big attacks to watch out for on Nethendra are Rot and Volatile Rot. Rot will summon a circle around you that will do damage every 3 seconds, and upon expiring will summon infested ground underneath you, which will do damage to anyone who steps inside that ground. Volatile Rot, after 8 seconds, will explode and deal 1.2 million damage to players nearby you. Basically, either one of those, get away from the raid and do the damage somewhere else. Nethendra basically has 2 phases, attack and regain energy. She'll switch through these phases when she reaches 0 energy. Usually you can take her down after 2 Heart of the Swarm. During her attack, you need to, like I said, watch out for Rot, and look out for infested breath. Basically, if you're not a tank, stand off to her sides, stand far away from her. During her regain energy phase, she will cast Heart of the Swarm. Now what she does is those green globules that were created by Rot will start swarming towards her. You need to get out of the way of them, don't get caught in them. She'll also summon bugs on the ground, which you need to stay away from because they do a lot of damage, and just, again, stay out of the green. DPS, healers, tanks, we all have pretty much the same role. If you're afflicted with Rot, stay away from people. If you're near a bug during Heart of the Swarm, stay away. If she's going to cast Infested Breath, get out of the way. She casts it in a random direction, so you do have like a second, maybe 2 to get out of the way. Heart of the Swarm, you get a chance to do a lot of damage because she won't be attacking you. You just need to look behind you and make sure you're not going to get hit. This fight's really easy, and if you screw up here, I'm sorry, this is as easy as it gets. As you head to the next part of the raid where you meet Malfurion with all the portals, you're going to have to crawl up a small cavern. Now this cavern has a lot of satyrs in it, and it also has purple mist. Do the raid a favor, do not step in the purple mist. It summons a new mob, and it's just a pain in the ass when the last person in the raid is the one that summons it. So, stick with the raid, stay out of the purple, kill all the mobs you can, very easy. Once you reach Malfurion, you're going to head to the portal to the right, so you can head off to Il'gynoth, who's in Ungoro Crater. Il'gynoth is different than the last few fights. He's, I guess, kind of similar to Deathwing in the way you have to get to him. Various mobs will show up throughout the encounter, and when you kill them, it will summon Nightmare Ichors. Those Nightmare Ichors will fixate on random players. If you're fixated by them, run towards the front of the eye, and everyone else needs to DPS them. Those ichors need to be killed on the eye in order for it to go away so you can attack the actual boss, Il'gynoth, who's hiding behind it. The first big thing to look out for is Corruptor Tentacles. The first thing they do is spew corruption. They basically target a random player and do a ton of shadow damage that creates a pool of nightmare corruption around them. So if you have that, run away from the raid. Just stay away. The corruption that comes from Corruptor Tentacles also causes a different type of problem if you step through it. You are pacified and silenced while inside of there, and you get a ton of damage dealt to you. So get out of that area as quickly as possible. For tanks, when you're facing the Dominator Tentacles, beware of Nightmarish Fury. It does a ton of damage, over 1 million, so be sure to use some kind of mitigation against it, some kind of shielding against it. Also be sure to look out for Eye of Fate from the Nightmare Horrors. That deals 2.2 million shadow damage in front of the horror. So, again, if you have some kind of mitigation, if you see it, use it. For healers, you definitely need to keep an eye on the tanks. The Dominator Tentacles and the Nightmare Horrors do a ton of damage to tanks, so you're going to have to rely heavily on keeping them up, especially when those monsters are up. You'll also have to keep an eye out for Touch of Corruption. All those ichors that are summoned, if they deal damage to their target, they're going to leave behind an infliction every 2 seconds. So, good idea to get rid of that as quickly as possible. DPS, again, if you get targeted by Spew Corruption, just walk away, get away from those spots, do not step in them. If you see Death Glare Tentacles, interrupt their Mind Flay every time you can. It's the only spell that's green from them, it's the only thing you can interrupt. That's the only thing you have to pay attention to aside from killing these guys at the proper time. Again, if a Nightmare Ichor is fixed on you, bring it over to the eye, and when they're low on health, kill them as much as you can. Once the eye is killed, you'll be able to move into the actual boss, is Il'gynoth. He's going to target several players with Ground Slam, which just does a ton of physical damage and knocks them back. They do have a brown-orange circle that surrounds them. Just stay out of it. If you get it, be sure to just walk away towards the edge of the walls. Make sure you're away from everyone in your raid. The 2 times that I ran this, the strategy was kill the eye, then run inside and use Heroism. That way you try to get it down as far as you can. We usually got it to about 25-30% our first run, and then we had to kill the rest of it the second time. Again, this usually shouldn't take more than 2 phases, so hopefully you can get through it pretty quickly. Very easy fight if you remember to kill the Ichors in front of the eye, and if you be sure to interrupt things and use your mitigation against the damage that's coming in. The last and probably most important thing to pay attention to is when you're attacking the Heart of Corruption, the actual part of Il'gynoth, look out for the timer at the bottom. While you're inside there, he's going to be casting Dark Reconstitution. It's supposed to take 50 seconds. At the end of that, he's going to instantly kill anyone who's left inside there. So when you see that timer getting close to, 5 seconds, start heading out of there. Save your raid the trouble. The last boss for this wing is Elereth Renferal. She switches between 2 phases, which you get a hint of as the 2 mini-bosses before her. One is going to be a spider, one is going to be a giant bird or rock. The spider is named the Night Mother, and the rock is named Shadowfeather. The spider likes to go up in the air, target a large area, get out of that area and avoid the damage, avoid the green circles on the ground so you don't sit in the ichor. Again, best practice, if it's green, stay out of it. Shadowfeather will do Raking Talons every 20 seconds. It's a high damage attack on its current target. It will also do Gathering Winds 30 seconds into the fight, which will send quills out at all targets. Shadowfeather is a very quick kill. The spider actually took longer for both runs that I did, but they give you a good look into what you're going to have to do for Elereth. As you first run up to Elereth, when you're finally done with the 2 mini-bosses, you'll notice that she's surrounded by egg sacs. Stay away from them. Treat these like the green fire from the last set. Do not touch them, stay as far away as you can. Everyone should be on the lookout for Necrotic Venom. It's going to summon a green circle around you. When you see that, you're going to need to run away from the rest of the raid to avoid giving them damage. Now, at the end of 10 seconds, it's going to expire and will cause damage, and will summon Necrotic Venom on the ground, which will cause damage. Again, the pools you need to stay out of. If you get stuck with Necrotic Venom, do not go onto one of the spiderweb bridges. The last thing we need is people to drop that stuff there. It causes a lot of damage when everyone has to run across there. During her spider phase, Elereth will again do like the mini-boss before her, jump into the sky, and will summon a big green circle on the ground and summon several adds. Kill the adds, stay out of the green area. Fairly simple. Elereth's first form of the spider will last for 90 seconds. After that, she will switch into rock form, which will last for 2 minutes. Before Elereth takes off, she will summon Gathering Clouds, which will start pushing the raid off towards the edges in every direction opposite of her. Keep running towards her, keep doing your damage, just do what you gotta do to stay there and not get thrown off. Now, once she starts transforming, you're going to need to start heading towards the next platform. What you want to do is either grab the wings that are there, and be very careful how you jump with those. You aim the wrong way, you're going to end up dead like I did. I personally found it easier to just run towards the next spot instead of jumping with the wings if you don't know what you're doing. As you run towards Elereth, you're going to be taking damage, and it's going to increase the farther away you are and the longer it takes you to get there. So, the moment she starts going, start moving to the next platform, save yourself the trouble. This time, she'll start using Twisting Shadows. Basically, a purple tornado gets summoned on you, it'll move around a little bit, stay out of it, it's going to cause a lot of trouble. When she's in her rock form, Ellereth will cast Raking Talons about every 30 seconds, and each time she casts it, she'll do it twice, 3 seconds apart. If you're tank, you need to swap off who has her attention at this time. If you get hit with the second one, it does a lot of extra damage, so whoever's got her attention at the first, take it. Second tank, you take her aggro, you take the hit. Use any kind of damage mitigation you can, try to get rid of as much damage as you can. Again, that happens about every 30 seconds. After the second time she does Raking Talons, Ellereth will do Razor Wing. So what this does is a cone of damage in front of her. If you see the warning for it, get off to the side. Best bet, hang off the last 45 degrees behind her. It should only hit the tank. If you're damaged, you should be behind her or well off to the side that you don't get hit by it. When Ellereth reaches 100 energy, she'll switch back into her spider form. It will keep going back and forth until you kill her. The first run I did where she died, she swapped I think 3 or 4 times. And a quick rundown for rolls. Tanks, every time she does Raking Talons in her rock form, quickly switch the taunt and take only 1 hit. The tanks should be one of the first people to get the shimmering feathers that she summons. You should know the path. Basically, jump towards the bridge and keep jumping so you can get over to her really fast. Get her attention over there. When she jumps down after summoning the swarm, get their attention, get every spider off of all the DPS, and get them on you. Healers need to be prepared for the sporadic damage that may cause from a tank that doesn't get swapped off during Raking Talons. They also need to look out for people who are stepping in the green, basically people not paying attention. And during rock form, you need to make sure that you stay out of the feather swipe that she has in front of her. During her rock form, Ellereth will also be casting raid-wide damage, so you're going to have a constant stream of healing going on everyone. DPS, fairly easy. If you're going to get stuck with Necrotic Venom, get to the edges of the platform, get it summoned there, kind of stand there in place, use some kind of shield, some kind of damage debuff, anything that you can to block the damage on you, because you're going to keep summoning those pools for 6 seconds, so it's good if you can keep them as confined as you can. When she's in her rock form, do the same thing with the purple tornadoes, twisting shadows. You just want to get them away from the raid and do not leave them on the platform. When she summons ads in her spider form, again, ads before boss. If you follow these instructions, you should stay alive and be able to fulfill your role as needed in this LFR wing. Should take you about 30 minutes to get through all 3 bosses, and hopefully you'll get some loot. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and please check out one of our other videos. I do live streaming every week, and I also have a Warcraft RPG. As always, thanks for watching, and if I don't see you during a stream, I will see you in 2 weeks for the opening of the next wing of LFR.